Hi, my name is Kim. I've been coming to South Fellowship for, I would say, about maybe 8 years now. My story is typical of any Easter story because it starts out in a dark place. It starts out with lament. I suffered with depression for most of all my 20s and half of my 30s. And along with that depression, I had a lot of suicidal thinking. And so I was in a very dark place of lament. I can feel it. My heart no longer pumps. My lungs no longer hold air. My muscles are all cramped up and can no longer move. My bones still feel strong, but even they can hardly wait to die. I'm just an empty shell filled with lost dreams and ambitions. The wind blows through my body freely now. There is nothing inside me anymore, and my cries are nothing but the howls of lost winds stuck in this empty cave called my body. That was my prayer of pain, my lament. And I'm so glad I dated it because I wrote it in February. And I was unaware that Easter was just around the corner. And I was a school teacher at the time. And I had a 4th grade classroom, and there was a little boy in that classroom named Daniel. And Daniel came up to me and he said, "Miss Bickett, would you go to church with me on Easter Sunday and hear my daddy preach?" And I could not tell this kid no. He was one of my favorite students, and I was like, okay, I will go to church with you on Easter Sunday. I hadn't been to church in over 15 years. The weekend of Easter was difficult, challenging. I wasn't in a good place. I got in a huge fight with my husband on Saturday morning, and I was all alone in my house. The darkness just came in, and I sat at the table and I thought, this is it. This is it. I looked over in the kitchen and I saw a knife set, and I thought, this is going to happen now. I cannot live another day. I can't do this. I knew that this was the perfect moment, and I knew exactly how I was going to do it. And then I heard God say to me, "Kim, what about Daniel?" Daniel was going to be at church, and he was waiting for his teacher, and if I didn't show, I just couldn't imagine how devastating that would be. So I woke up the next day, I went to church, I walked in, and there was Daniel with his mom, just as happy as could be to see his teacher. The music started, and it was like coming up out of the deep end of a pool and getting a big breath of air. And I was like, what is happening? The darkness around me started to just chip away and chip away. I know in my heart, God said to me, "Kim, you don't need to die. My son already did that for you." He said, "I'm not a God of death. I'm a God of life." He changed my story. And God began to just heal my whole family. A young boy asked me to go to Easter, to go to church on Easter. I did, and God completely changed that story. I just look back and think, wow, from where I was, God completely changed the outcome of my story. And my story was not about death, but his story was of life. And I choose life, and I choose him.